Welcome back. I thought today I would do something interesting, and that's to compare some of my toys. And I don't have the usual toys. I don't have much jewelry. I don't have many other things. But I love sports, and I love to figure out how I'm doing. And so while I was overseas, I picked up a few toys. So I wanted to go through them one by one and kind of discuss them with you and hopefully come together and say which of these is right for you and me. I thought what I would look at is some at the very high end of the scale and some at the lower end of the scale, and also tell you what my personal experience with them, because I've been using them for over a month now, and I can show you the data I collected. So let's talk about a few things that I was looking at in these devices and how I create a newly found ROM score, a Dr. ROM score. And the idea is simple. One is ease of use. The second is how comfortable it is to wear. The third is how much I have to finagle and charge it. The fourth is how good the apps and support are. And the fifth is how practical and appropriate the information is. So I'm going to break that down for you. So let's start from the top down. On my left, I have an Apple Watch. We've already talked about that, so I'll leave that to the side. Above it, I have something called an Amazon Halo. This is a sensor package which basically has a temperature sensor, a heart rate sensor, and can also sense sleep. What I found unique about this was not really the sensor itself. It was okay. But what's interesting is the app that it comes with. And the sensor itself's been on sale since about 2018. It just underwent a revision, which actually has a screen, but this one has no screen. And so it's really only a band, and it looks a lot like perhaps the Whoop or some of the others, a little bit smaller than that. The good news with it is it's waterproof, and so you can dive down many meters without having any issues whatsoever. You can charge it on its own little dock, and which it comes with, which is a USB charger. And the other good news is because it lasts for 3 to 5 days, it can actually be with me almost all the time. Now, there's some variances in it, and that comes with the function. The first thing is, and what I found interesting about this is it not only tracks your sleep, your heart rate, and some of those things, but within sleep, it'll tell you what's light sleep, what's deep sleep, what's REM sleep, and what your total sleep is. The second thing is it'll tell you heart rate variations, and that's kind of an important quantity these days to tell you how well rested you are, and we'll hear about more of that in one of the other sensors. Next, the other interesting thing I found about this is the app it comes with has some interesting camera technology, in that it uses your phone's camera to do a body site survey. And it basically has you turn around and take the scan in several different sides, so it's a 360 view, and based on that, accurately it can quantify your body fat, which I found was fascinating. The other thing it can do is it can tell you how good your motion is, and it tests 5 different areas, and it watches your motion with the camera and basically measures how you're doing. Now, I think it's a combination of the gyrometer in here, as well as the heart rate sensor, as well as the app coming together, but it's also the cameras on your phone. And so the unique part about this sensor is it uses a combination of two. The last thing I thought was fascinating with this Halo is that it actually listens to your tone, which some of you guys may find is spooky. But the idea is that no one's really listened to my tone to see if I was emotionally distraught or if I was happy. And you can set it for the time at which it listens. So in most cases, it listens from 9 to 5. And basically tells me during that time how much of that I was in the happy green zone versus the red zone. Now, that brings in a bit of a question, and that's the privacy of all these devices. But this one in particular, they state that whatever information comes in with this device only goes to their server and then it gets erased, and the rest is stored on your phone and doesn't go anywhere. That in particular with the 3D pictures in your underwear, which you take for the body fat, and also the voice samples that are going out, may get a little sensitive, and you'd hate for those to get out. But they say they're encrypted and they whatnot. You gotta trust them, I guess. Altogether, it's an interesting package. Now, the last thing is, how's it priced and how does it feel? Now, It's not as comfortable, honestly, as some of the other trackers I have. And on the positive, though, it actually is fairly functional. And packaged with its other app and whatnot, it actually works pretty well. Now, there's one other thing to say. What does it cost? I got this thing for $75. It ranges between $75 and $100, and that covers you for 6 months for membership. But beyond that, you pay about $4 a month for a subscription. And so what you'll have to decide in that time period is it worth it or not? And what you'll see is that's relatively low, but it goes out to infinity and perennial. Now, is that a good thing? Well, you're paying for the band and you're paying for the subscription. If you look at 6 times 4, that's only $24. So you're actually paying between $50 and $75 for this band. Now, as far as the Dr. Ram score, it lasts for 3 to 5 days. It basically is fairly obtrusive, but the band itself is not very comfortable. The data it gives you from the app is superb. But on the other hand, do you want to be handing off all that private data? But I think overall, on a scale of 10, I would give it probably a 6 or 7. The next band is this Whoop band. And this is a very interesting package. This thing was developed in 2012 and then got a new CEO in 2018. But what they've done is they've positioned themselves squarely in the realm of athletes. Because what they measure is readiness, which is also now there in a couple of the other bands and was added to Fitbit as well. But at the same time, what they measure is 3 or 4 different things. Heart rate variability, they measure sleep, and then they put that together in some type of algorithm, which isn't clear to me when I looked at the data, and figure out whether or not you are well rested. They also measure strain. Now, this device has been positioned for professional sports teams, for professional athletes, and for tracking for coaches, as well as SEALs and other people, and those are the people backing it. Believe it or not, this thing is valued at $3.6 billion valuation for a company, and they just raised another $200 million in the pandemic. The real key to this, and what I like about it, is it's very, very slender and slick. It also has a battery which slides on, so you never have to take the band off to charge it. And so that data is continuously flowing. Other than that, it's waterproof, and you can swim with it, and you can do everything with it. As far as the data goes, I'll show you some of the snapshots of both of these. And this thing does a good job. And that's one thing between my different devices, with few exceptions, they measured sleep fairly well and told me. The last thing, as with all these devices, it's critical to see and reference where they're backing their data. And I would say with many of these, they've done independent lab testing. The Whoop gets a thumbs up for many things. The one nice thing to it is you can measure your workouts and you can see the heart rate, and it'll auto-detect them as well, and it'll automatically integrate them. It also has a journaling function where you can tell it how much coffee you've drank, how much activity you've done, what types of activity you've done. So I think this one's promising. I think the question is the amount you pay, and if you buy it month to month, it's $30 a month, so about $360 a year, or if you buy it on a yearly state, it's about $18 a month. But that is forever. And the only nice thing is they give you the new band, obviously, because it's a subscription model rather than the band model. And so I would say give it a try. The Whoop band is interesting for all kinds of reasons, particularly because I like to exercise, but I'm not a performance athlete. I'm not going to the Olympics next year. In fact, I'm just on the narrow band right now in my life trying to prevent sports injury. But even there, this might help, and I'm thinking this is an interesting device. How you interpret that data is a tough one. You almost need a sports coach to help you with all that. So on a scale of 10, I would give it a 7. And that's mainly because I think in the professional scheme, it might be okay, but I don't think it gives me enough information that I can interpret that would really make me think twice. Next is this Go Key band. The nice thing with the Go Key is it's a very versatile watch type device. And the one thing that it's good for is it not only measures heart rate, but it also measures pulse oximetry, the temperature, and the blood pressure. And so that as a one-off device is quite an interesting kind of capture. But that said, you're only paying about 5,000 rupees, which is all of $80 one-time cost. And really you're paying for the coaching. Now you may have to renew that coaching plan as time goes by, because in a similar fashion, this one is partly paying for the services more than the hardware, but at the same time it comes with that. The one thing where I think it could be improved is in the app. And the problem is they're trying to cross-sell too many things. I think it would be nice to have just a focused app for this particular device so that I can look at that and I don't have to look at the whole ecosystem. But that could be a positive too, in that if you're looking for a doctor, or if you're looking for a health coach, or you're looking for a dietitian or all that, this helps you kind of integrate to the Goki universe. So I think it depends on what you're after, but for me as an athletic healthcare guy, what I need is something which can give me the data and then I can interpret it and figure that out. But not a bad value for money. The nice thing about the Goki is its price and its features. The bad thing about it is its app is okay, and the ecosystem they built is very, very wide, and so it kind of distracts from the actual healthcare device. So on this Goki, out of a scale of 10, I would probably give it a 7 or 8, and the app could be a better experience. But other than that, absolutely love the fact that they've bundled in quite a few different sensors. I'll have to see how good those sensors are by doing our own independent tests. Finally, the last one in my kitty is something quite interesting, but this is the Oura Ring, a Finnish company which basically has created a device that has sensors on the inside of the ring and basically can test your temperature, your sleep, your activity, and other factors. The one thing I love about the Oura is its form factor, because I hate wearing watches and I hate wearing all of this stuff, and particularly bands which give you no information and you need a phone with them to actually use them. And so the Oura looks like just another wedding ring that you're wearing, and it tracks a lot of your data. But the bottom line is that this is a very livable device. So what are the downsides of this? It's not as full-featured in terms of activity tracking. You have to tell it what activity you're doing. It does sort of sense it, but it won't tell you you're running or doing that. That's sort of true for all of them to some degree, but a lot of them now are very smart. The second thing is the price. These are running about $299 one-time fee. Now you could say, well, that's cheaper than buying the subscription to the others, and you would be correct. But the question is, how long will this one last? Now, the good news with this and with the others is the battery charge lasts 3 to 5 days. And so you can sleep with them, you can swim with them, you can do whatever you want with them and wear them as long as you want. So that for me is a big plus versus the Apple Watch, which at most I can get 18 hours in, and that's if I don't use it for anything. But as far as functionality goes, the watch adds some functionality, this adds others, but this is unobtrusive. And so from that perspective, it's kind of a nice healthcare device. But I think this is definitely something which I can live with. And the charge of 3 to 5 days is something certainly which I don't have any issues with. And also from a form function with my narrow wrists and all that, wearing a watch or doing all that stuff is not a problem because I only wear this. Now I'm looking forward to the fact that the future of these things lies in perhaps ear-based devices and in other devices like contact lenses and maybe just patches that you wear which stick on and are disposable. And you know, at some point, the quantified self movement is going to be interesting once we can interpret that data and actually change what happens. And we're getting very close to that because in the healthcare suite, in a hospital and whatnot, we do use a lot of that data. In the real world, the question is, how does it affect what you do? What I love about this is the form factor of this ring. It's absolutely flawless in terms of execution, and it feels like a regular ring. I can swim with it, bathe with it, do whatever I want with it, and it doesn't really get in my way. The only problem with it is it's not as full-featured. It doesn't have lights and whistles and tell me anything because it has absolutely no screen surface. And so, is that a good thing? Yeah, the battery life lasts longer, but for the price you're paying of $299, I could almost get an Apple Watch. And so when you look at that price for price, it's a question. So again, I think this one scores a little bit less at 6 over 10, but from my own personal view, I think it's one which I probably would wear because it's so innocuous. It just sits with me and doesn't get in my way. And so some of this is personalized in terms of my situation, and you have to see the features we've outlined, and we'll give you some infographics on all of this to summarize it. But you know, the idea is, as always, we'll put the links in the description, and we'll also include the infographics so that you can understand them. I would love to hear what you think about these devices. To be honest with you, I'm so thankful to have all of you guys joining me on this journey to wellness and health. And that's the mission, to start this grassroots movement. But I think these are moving us in the right direction with quantified self, because I think until you can measure yourself, you can't really correct the course. Anyway, if you like what I say, please hit the like button. Always share this with your friends so they can enjoy too. And hit the subscribe button so you can see plenty more episodes, because we're always tinkering and checking things out in the healthcare space. And then finally, hit the bell icon so that your phone will tell you when a new episode goes up, because we're filming all the time and there'll be 1 to 2 every single week. Love to hear what you say about this. Thank you so much for joining me. It's an absolute pleasure meeting all of you guys. Take care. Have a good day.